My name is AJ Collins. If you don't know me, welcome to this new YouTube video. I talk a lot about consciousness and expanding the minds through my own experiences and the things that I've been through in my own life, right? As you see from the title of this video will be strictly talking about why you should allow friends to reveal themselves and why they slowly do it, right? We're all human. We all have flaws. We're all capable of doing certain things, whether if that's significant things or if that's detrimental things. We're all full of ideas, right? Creativity, but we're also filled with sometimes jealousy, sometimes envy, sometimes lust, sometimes negative traits that kind of judges our, not just us, but the people that we hang, from the habits that we do, from the places that we live. We're always judged in a sense by others, right? In 2025, the concept of the friend, I will argue, has changed significantly, right? Even in my own perception of what a friend is and was has changed a lot, even over the span of the last decade, well, half a decade, I would say. Growing up in high school, my perception of a friend, from elementary to middle school to high school until then, it all changed, right? I would argue that, in elementary school and middle school, your friend would be the people that you usually probably eat lunch with at the table and make jokes with and, tap on the thing and laugh with, whatever, right? But there's no morals. There's no responsibility there. There's no character traits that you're paying attention to. You're just around people. You're just a little one, and you just vibing. I would say middle school is probably where it all changes, where you start sensing how friends can, change, right? Maybe if you have a friend that you probably hung with in middle school and they talk behind your back to another person or a bully, that concept of a friend, you start sensing that there's this moral compass that an individual should have in regard with themselves and the people and the peers that they hang around, correct? I would say high school is where it get cracking for a lot of individuals when it comes to how they can be betrayed and how they can be betrayed by other people, all due to your friends, right? And you start being more aware of who you're around, right? You start becoming more aware of the people that you're surrounding yourself with, because there's something instinctively, right, intuitively, energetically, that you understand that, hey, certain harm or certain damage can come from hanging with the wrong person, the wrong peer, right? Maybe in high school you probably had an individual who was taking drugs and ditching, doing that type of thing, and it didn't align with your lifestyle. You gotta get straight A's or good grades. Them report cards come home, you get what I'm saying, etc. You just start understanding that there's consequences with hanging with certain individuals, right? Now we're adults. And this is where it becomes very interesting, right? Because your moral and your characteristics and your perception of what a friend is and what you categorize them in changes. Everybody have their own perception of what a friend is, right? A lot of people might think a friend is just somebody you hang around or like you just go out with and you just enjoy time with, but that is wrong, In life, 2025, as of today, one thing I've learned that you cannot force anybody to have the same moral standards and the same characteristics that you might possess, right? If you are an individual who's been through real things and you had to have individuals around you to be really solid, regardless of race, gender, whatever, you really accepted that person for them and there was an energetic alignment there. You became more prioritized with that, right? Surrounding yourself with that. And there's individuals who, if you dangle the carrot, maybe money or, just alcohol, etc., I ain't saying it's a problem. But for individuals who embrace that, they stay over there, right? You'll see that people have their own social groups and their own social constructs. The thing that a lot of people get misconstrued in 2025 is that it's kind of hard for them to predict that people will change over time. I was one of these individuals. In the past, I was a social butterfly. I'm talking about I had everybody around me, bro. I used to be up and out every single day. A lot of people, oh man, what's going on? Let's go here, bro. We at the beach. Let's turn up backwoods. I'm talking about turned up, right? Until I had a spiritual awakening. Until I started understanding there was something that started feeling off, right? My morals start changing. The things that I start valuing start changing. I don't care about materialistic things. I did in the past, but I don't, right? I know that in the snap of a finger, God can snap his finger and everything could be gone in the blink of an eye. And it happened to me. And this is another awakening that I had a few years prior that allowed me to see that you don't even have to be a negative person to have negative experiences or to experience hidden animosity and envy from people, from individuals, from peers, right? It becomes this, as you get older, if you're a young one looking at this, right? Or if you're my age, or even if you're older, right? There becomes a point in time, even from people that you hung with since high school, middle school, for a long time, because this construct of time is the only thing that keeps a lot of people together, right? If you knew a person for more than 10 years or since middle school or high school, you might think that's your real homie or your real homegirl because of the time. Let's exclude the time real quick, right? Just let's put the time, let's make it seem like if you was to meet this person today, right? The first things you will look at is morals, characteristics, and personality, right? What are the things that they value? What are the morals, right? What do they believe in? What are the things they stand for? How do they live their life? What habits that they do? Do they talk about people and then go hang with the same people? You know, look at these things and you will start noticing them, because this goes into the psyche of a person's and the individual's conscious mind, their subconscious, and how they operate within their own lives. When I start understanding the morals, characteristics, and personality, it allowed me to kind of discern certain individuals that I was around. My biggest mistake when it came to peers was I was a people pleaser in the past, right? And the first time I awakening, because you're so jolly, right? You're so like gullible in a sense. You're so naive, and it's like, oh man, I want to tell everybody the things I'm learning, whatever. A lot of people didn't learn because they were genuinely interested. A lot of people were around because they didn't want to get left behind, or because they just wanted the knowledge just to keep to themselves and work in the background, right? But when you start understanding that and you have the power of discernment, you can start seeing how these individuals operate. Now, me, I know I come with a lot, right? A lot of old peers of mine, before I even knew that, understood that, right? They knew if they were around me, they would have been able to make money, or like learn about crypto, or learn about spirituality, and just, you know, when I started seeing that they weren't using it for other people, they were only using it for their own self benefit, right? Not even in a sense of like where it was inspired or they're actually helping individuals learn about themselves. It became a weapon for them. And that's when I understood not all knowledge, not all key aspects that you learned and went through in your own life is meant to be put towards other people, right? So slowly but surely, I started seeing the morals and the characteristics of individuals and personalities. Now, with me, I know that I have a certain energetic alignment that certain individuals, if you're not authentically yourself, or if you have a mask on, you're going to be intimidated. And it comes out slowly. You know, I've been with individuals where it wasn't even my friend. It can be partners, bro. And you'll see a mask come off, and it becomes this envy. It becomes this jealousy. It becomes this negative, energetic feeling that you'll start feeling towards and from these people, right? Because it's all projection. Right, I mentioned towards because it's a projection, right? When the person comes towards you and you just feel this weird energy, it's a projection of them. So I went through something essentially, right? Mind you, before this, I had everybody around me, bro. It was like, I'm talking about like, oh, bro, he's him, this and that, right? And I felt like this was, looking back, I felt like this was God's way of cleansing me, bro. Because I had so many people around me that I look back, it was really leeches. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't people who seriously supported and all that. Like, it was people who didn't want to get left behind. It was people who felt like I was going certain places and they just went to tag along. And God, what was the perfect way to cleanse myself of these individuals? Take away the things that they're there for. You get me? They're there for the money. They're there for what you have, the light, the abundance. He took that away for a while. For about 2-3 years, bro. I'm not joking. I say 2 years. I ain't go that long, but it was 2 years. Either or, it was still hard. And I remember these peers that I had around me that played gratitude and played like they were humble and all this, right? They became very ego boosted, right? It became an infatuation for them that I was going through something. It became this satisfaction. You know what I'm saying? It became this empowerment for them. You get me? And me, I'm an individual that I observe, you know. I'm very intellectual, and I understand how to move, right? I understand that life is really like a chessboard. You got to know how to move, because if you give individuals the reluctance, or if you give individuals the power to see what you're going to do, or the plans, if you react impulsively, or if you react emotionally, you will fail, because they can counter that. You're supposed to play dumb in order to catch the fool. And that's what I did. So during this time, I didn't really say anything. You know, I got off social media. I was just out the way. And, bro, I remember, like, captions. I'm talking about the things that I've heard. And I never reacted. I just stayed silent. I kept working. I kept staying silent. Like, man, I'm going to get out of this. Whoop. I kept working. Hard, right? And some friends came back. I started doing good. You know, I started valuing certain friends, certain individuals again, right? Not the ones that I seen during that time, but individuals that I knew because of a time construct. People from middle school, and just reconnected with them, right? And there was actually things that happened to them from same individuals, right? And this is something actually recently that I've learned. And I was already feeling this feeling over the past few months, right, about certain individuals because of the time. Like, okay, besides the time, do we really vibe like that? You know, like, do we really, you know, align like that? And I didn't even have to do nothing. It just revealed itself through characteristics and traits, right? So there's this individual who basically would vent to me that there was this money owed to this individual from a person that they were being avoidant and all this, right? So being a good friend, you have a listening ear, you listening, right? Apparently, magically, they talk or whatever. I don't know the details. All I know is this individual that cut off other people for almost the same thing literally hung with the same individuals that they cut off other people for in the same traits. Why, right? And it becomes this thing where you just gotta realize and ask yourself, what is a friend? You get me? Like, really, what is a friend? A associate, I know what that is. A teammate in a basketball game, I know what that is. But a friend, because you have somebody around you do trips with, or you just interact with on certain occasions, the moment you see a trait that you don't like or a moral compass that just doesn't align with yours, now you have to create this whole avenue of separating yourself, distancing yourself, right? You don't have to do that. And that's the whole point of this video. People that are not aligned with you will reveal themselves through traits, through maybe things you heard and you go do some research and you see, right? In 2025, your friend is yourself. As crazy as that sound, it is. Your friend can be the way that you appreciate yourself. A friend can be the way that you talk to a stranger and, you know, have that same energetic feeling with feeling satisfied that you just, you know, hey, how you doing today? Hey, man, you look nice. I like the shirt. Everything is a projection of how you feel inside. That's your friend. If you ask me, your friend is your subconscious feeling towards yourself. That's your friend. Because when you really think about it, if your mindset or your mentality isn't positive towards yourself, or you don't give out that same love to yourself as you would to a friend, quote unquote, you don't really know yourself. You don't really know what you match with. You don't really know what you align with. You don't really know what satisfies you. You don't know what circle that you're supposed to be a part of, right? Or what acquaintances or associates you're supposed to be around, right? I always say when you look for a friend, it's actually just looking for that feeling of satisfaction within yourself and other people. Because the moment that a friend do something you don't like, are they your friend? No. You know? And like I said, you guys just need to get more specific on individuals that's in your life. Not everybody deserves to be a friend immediately. Allow people to deserve that spot. I mean, I moved to a whole different place, right? And I would say a lot of people that I've met have shown me way more morals, like more positive moral compasses, right? More intellect, more, I would say just more standards than people that I knew for years. Certain individuals be stuck in the past, and it's up to you in order to separate yourself from these people, right? And everything becomes a learning experience. Like, what's a mistake without the lesson? You can't say you made a mistake if you didn't learn something from it. How would you have learned that if the mistake never happened? You get me? So just start taking your time and understanding yourself. You are your friend. You are your friend. I want you guys to understand that, man. I know the video is pretty long, but the whole moral and point of this is the whole concept and perception of what a friend is has changed significantly over time. A lot of people, such as myself as well included, are starting to question the whole definition of a friend. And it all starts off, I feel like, with loving yourself first, because then you'll know where you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to be, and the perception of what a friend is will come to you. I'm not saying it's not real, but don't just throw yourself out there and just call people your friend, bro, because no, bro. I love you guys. Understand, you're your first friend first. Then you'll find your true tribe. I love y'all. AJ Collins. I'm out.